welcome. Welcome to class 484. Okay, we're going to continue with list number 5 on page 91 in the vocabulary. Really, the next list is list number 8. However, I accidentally skipped number 5. And so today we're doing it. Well, yesterday and today. And I spoke to you about a story about the donkey's shadow. Do you remember? La sombra del burro. El cuento de la sombra del burro. Okay. Are you interested in the story, Marta? She's interested in the story. Quería hacer trampa. Yeah. Before the class, well, yesterday, after yesterday's class, she said, Anda, tell me the story. I said, no. Tell me the story in Spanish first about the donkey's shadow. And I said, no, I'm sorry, Marta. And then this morning, before starting this class today, she said, porfa, tell me the story. Come on, please. Come on. Pretty, please. O sea, bonito, por favor, con azúcar encima. Pretty, please with sugar on it. I said, no, sorry. First, you'll hear the story in English. And then, after the class today, if she didn't understand everything, I'll tell her the story of the donkey's shadow. But first, quick review of the hasta llegar a la palabra sombra, and then I'll stop there. Una pérdida de tiempo is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Ayuda, auxilio, aid, help, aid. Primeros auxilios, first aid, en singular. O sea, primera ayuda, literalmente. First aid. Y la T de first se enlaza con A. First aid. Un botiquín, pequeño botiquín, is a first aid kit. K-I-T. A first aid kit. Aid. Mandón. Bossy. Don't be so bossy. All right. Mi jefe es muy mandón. My boss is very bossy. Tengo un jefe mandón. I have a bossy boss. Do you have a bossy boss? I have a bossy wife. She has a bossy husband. Do you have a bossy husband? Is your husband bossy? No? Bueno. There was a moment of doubt, okay? Is your little boy bossy? ¿Sí? ¿Ves? I told her, cuidado. She's spoiling him. Yes. Hijo, yeah, she's spoiled. He's the center of attention. She's spoiling him. So you have a bossy little boy. All right. Mandón. All right. Comparable. Comparable. Or comparable. Se dice incomparable. Comparable. To compare. Hecho, un fact. Facts. Hechos son facts. También obras. Quiero obras. Quiero hechos, no palabras. En este caso, I want deeds. Porque son hechos de realización. Quiero obras, no palabras. I want deeds. Pero aquí tenemos facts. Formato, format. I like this format. Rayo, relámpago, lightning. Lightning and thunder, lightning. Yes, a lightning bolt. Nervios, nerves. Yes, me pones de los nervios. You get on my nerves. Do I get on your nerves? Yeah, we get on each other's nerves. Do I make you nervous? No me pones los nervios, pero me pones un poco nervioso. You don't get on my nerves, but you make me a little nervous. To make. En español se dice me pones nervioso. We say, me haces nervioso. You make me nervous. You get on my nerves. Nerve. Doloroso is painful. Painful. Learning English is painful. Yes. I'm not offering you painless English. Inglés sin dolor. Aquí no. Hay un poco de dolor. Painless English, no. A little bit painful. Pero es un dolor, how do you say? Placentero. Yes. Because it's stimulating to learn and to improve. Y por último, sombra, shade. All right. Shade. Shade es la falta de sol. Shadow es la silueta que se echa cuando el sol, cuando estás entre el sol y la tierra, or any object. I can see there are lights behind me and lights in front of me. So I have several different shadows. Now, the donkey's shadow. Are you ready? escucha, listen carefully. The donkey's shadow. All right. Many years ago, many years ago, in the north of Mexico, a businessman, was doing business in a small village in Mexico in the summer. And it was very hot. He finished his business in one village and he wanted to travel to the next village, perhaps 10 kilometers. But he decided to rent the services of a donkey. This was before cars. And so he made contact with the owner of a donkey, and he paid the man to take him to the next village on a donkey. So the man got on the donkey, the businessman sat on the donkey, and the owner of the donkey pulled the donkey walking. He was pulling the donkey, going to the next village. 10 kilometers, It's a lot. And at one point along the way, they were traveling along the way. And the man said, "Excuse me, can we stop for a few minutes? It's really hot." And the owner of the donkey says, "Sí, señor. We stop, no problem." Said, "Good, thank you." And the man gets off the donkey and sits down, se sitúa in the shadow, la sombra que echa el burro, the donkey's shadow. And the owner of the donkey says, "Señor, I'm sorry, I sit there, you move." He said, "What? Yes, this is for me, it's for me." And the man said, but I rented the donkey. Alquilé yo él. "Yes, señor, you rented the donkey, but you didn't rent the donkey's shadow." All right? So the man had to leave, and he sat, because that was the only place where there was shade. So the only shade that was available was the donkey's shadow. There were no trees, no mountains or hills. There was no shade except the donkey's shadow. But, so in the future, if you rent a donkey, check the weather, check the sun, the heat, but also say, by the way, if I rent the donkey, it includes the donkey's shadow. All right, in that case, you won't have a problem. In that case, you won't have a problem like our Mexican businessman. He said, "I'm sorry, senor. You rent the donkey, you don't rent the donkey's shadow." Okay, so that's the story. You like the story, Marta? Do you understand? Do you need a Spanish translation? No? Okay. Yeah, it's easy to understand me. All right, sombras, shade. Dormido con sueño is sleepy. Dormido in Spanish has two meanings. Asleep. Está dormido. He's asleep. Oh, estoy dormido hoy. Oh, I'm sleepy. Sleepy. Soñoliento, con sueño. I'm sleepy. Amenaza, threat. No me amenaces. Don't threaten me. No acepto amenazas. I don't accept threats. Are you threatening me? If you don't learn English, you will suffer the consequences. What consequences? Are you threatening me? Is that a threat? ¿Es eso una amenaza? Is that a threat? Threat. Como hilo de coser es thread. Igual pero con D y no T al final. Thread. To threaten es el verbo, amenazar. Y amenazante, threatening. Cielo amenazante, amenazador. A threatening sky. A big storm is coming. Okay, threat. Lograr conseguir es to achieve. Voy a lograr mis objetivos en la vida. I'm going to achieve my goals. I have a lot of goals, a lot of objectives, and I'm going to achieve all my objectives, and I'm going to achieve escrito. I'm going to achieve all my goals. To achieve. Viene la misma raíz latina que la palabra acabar. Acabar is to finish, claro. Pero en inglés se ha evolucionado hacia acabar con las propuestas, con éxitos, to achieve, to accomplish, accomplir, achever in French, to achieve, to achieve. Estar en huelga, to be on strike. Huelga de brazos caídos, ¿no? Yeah, I'm on. I don't know how to say that. A sit-down strike. A sit-down strike, de estar sentado. A wildcat strike. Yeah. There are different types of strikes. All right, Richard, are you on strike? Now I'm not on strike. When was the last time you were on strike? I've never been on strike. I've never gone on strike. To go on strike is declararse en huelga, ir a la huelga, to go on strike. You see, if you go on strike, then you are on strike. First, you need to go on strike in order to be on strike. All right. I'm on strike. Echar la culpa, to blame. No me blames. Don't blame me. I'm only the English teacher. It's not my fault. If your English is stagnant, if you're not progressing, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. And don't blame Marta either. Eh? The only person to blame is you. You blame yourself. It's your own fault. It's not my fault. It's not Marta's fault. It's nobody's fault but yours. No es culpa de nadie menos el tuyo. No, it's nobody's fault but yours. You have nobody to blame but yourself. So if you don't improve your English, está claro a quién culpar, a quién hay que echar la culpa. If you don't improve your English, it's very simple, it's very easy to know who is to blame. You, to blame. Don't blame me. Don't blame, blame. No acepto la culpa. I don't accept the blame. O sea, curioso, la única vez que decimos fault es cuando decimos, no es culpa mía, no es culpa tuya, ¿de quién es la culpa? Whose fault is it? It's not my fault. It's not her fault. So, debe de ser, it must be your fault. If it's not my fault, it is not her fault, then it must be your fault. You are to blame. So I'm blaming you. I'm blamed, to blame. Blame. All right, to blame. ¿Dónde estoy? Where am I? Formarse académicamente, to educate. Vamos a formar académicamente a Marta. We're going to educate her. To educate, claro, educar en español has two meanings. Lo que es la formación académica, la educación secundaria, educación superior, etc. Education. Fíjate en la pronunciación al principio. Education. Graduation es lo mismo. La D más la U es ju. Como la T más la U es chu, Carmen chu. Ju. Educate. But in English, to educate is solo en lo académico. Claro, aquí educar es como criar a una persona. Una crianza, una educación. Tengo que educar a mis hijos. O sea, I have to raise my children or to bring up my children. But to educate my children es asegurar su buena formación académica. Escolar, la parte escolar, escolaridad. That's to educate. Education, to educate. To educate. All right, where are we? ¿Dónde estoy? I keep losing my place. To educate. Luchar, pelear is to fight. You ready to fight? This is my fist. Do you want a fist sandwich? Huh? Let's fight. To fight. Yeah, to fight. Ahora, la lucha es to struggle. La lucha esforzada para ganar, a lo mejor para ganar puntos en la vida, para el éxito, to struggle. La lucha obrera. The workers struggle. The struggle. We shall overcome. Yes, the struggle. The civil rights. Martin Luther King and the struggle. Strugle es struggle. The struggle. Yeah. The struggle for survival. La lucha para supervivencia del más fuerte. The struggle. Yes. Pero pelear, luchar en el sentido de pelea es to fight. La lucha, the fight. Flotar is to float. Estoy flotando en el éter. I'm floating in the ether. Float. To float. Yes, to float. Floating. On the top of the water, the floating. Un flotador is afloat. Yes, to float. Yes, to float. All right. Doblar, plegar is to fold. You remember? To fold. I'm going to fold a piece of paper. Yes. I'm going to tear out. I just tore out. To tear es rasgar, desgarrar. Pero desgarrar fuera is arrancar. Un papel. I've just torn out a piece of paper. This piece of paper. And I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold it once. I have folded it. Folded it. I have folded it once. Now I'm going to fold it again. All right? Twice. All right? Now I have folded it twice. Now I'm going to fold it a third time. All right. Yeah. All right. Now I have folded it 3 times. And I'm going to fold it one more time. 4 times. I'm going to fold it. You see, now I'm folding it. I haven't finished folding it. Now I have folded it. I have folded this piece of paper 4 times. Now, if I fold it 50 times, it's physically impossible, but theoretically, physically no, theoretically, if I fold this piece of paper 50 times, how high? ¿Por aquí? ¿Tú crees? No? Maybe here? O cerca de Júpiter. Yeah. If I fold this piece of paper 50, impossible physically, of course, but if I fold this piece of paper 50 times, it will go out of the Earth's atmosphere, travel to Mars, pass Mars, and continue to Jupiter. Between Mars and Jupiter. You don't believe me? Yeah, yeah, yes. This piece of paper, no es la primera vez que hago esto aquí, is 1/10 of a millimeter. Un décimo de milímetro. 2/10 of a millimeter. 4/10 of a millimeter. 8/10 of a millimeter. 1.6 millimeters. Yes. 1.6, 160, 3.2 millimeters. Pasa la Luna, pasa Marte, pasa, casi llega a Júpiter. That's and you can calculate it with 1/10 of a millimeter, and you calculate los kilómetros, los millón de kilómetros, and things. You'll find out. To fold a piece of paper. Now, where are we? To float, to fold, engordar. To gain, bueno, ojo. Engordar can be good or bad. If you're very thin, te veo muy delgado. ¿Qué te pasa? What's the matter? You're very thin. Are you okay? Yeah, I was ill for 2 months. Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. Ahora estoy engordando. Tienes que engordar un poco, eh? You need to gain weight. So to gain weight is poner peso, o sea, to gain weight. Ganar kilos. To gain weight. Ahora engordar, porque yes, ponerse gordo is to get fat. I'm getting fat, Marta. I need to eat less. I'm getting fat. I'm gaining too much weight. Ahora, engordar una vaca is different. That's to fatten. But that's not important. Fatten. Cebar, engordar. To fatten. But to get fat, te estás poniendo un poco gordo. You're getting fat. Por fin estás ganando un poco de peso. Now you're gaining some weight. To gain weight, to lose weight, to gain weight, to lose weight. The British say to put on weight. To put on, como ponerse ropa, to put on a shirt, to put on your shoes, and to put on some weight. You've put on some weight. Americans, you've gained some weight. Whichever is easier for you, to put on or to gain. Guiar is to guide. Yeah, un guía del turismo. A tourism guide, a tour guide. To work as a guide. To guide, te guiaré a través del denso y oscuro bosque del inglés. I'll guide you through the dark, thick forest of English. Hay mucho sotobosque ahí dentro. There's a lot of undergrowth. I'll guide you. I'm the guide. Follow me. I'm the leader, and I will guide you. To guide, implantar, poner en marcha. To implement, o sea, implementar se dice mucho hoy en día en España. That's not correct Spanish, but I think the Royal Academy of the Language has accepted implementar. All right. Implantar, poner en funcionamiento, poner en marcha is to implement. We're going to implement a new plan for your English. I'm going to implement a new plan. All right, dos más. Desafortunadamente, unfortunately. Infortunadamente in English, unfortunada, unfortunately. Unfortunately, English is difficult. Yes. I wish it were easy, but it's not. Ojalá fuera fácil, pero no lo es. I wish it were easy, but it's not. Unfortunately, fortuna's fortune. Voy a ganar una fortuna con esta clase. I'm going to make a fortune. Fortune teller. El que te cuenta tu futuro. Your hand. Give me your hand. Ooh, a long love life. Very interesting. It's a fortune teller. She tells you your fortune. Fortune en este caso es tu futuro. La fortuna que te espera. All right. Fortune. Unfortunately, we only have 5 minutes left. Unfortunately. Y por último, ballena. Ballena. Whale. Los británicos dirán whale. Yo aspiro la WH. Puedo apagar velas con decir ballena. Whale. What's the first letter in the alphabet? A. Whale. Cuesta un poco decirlo al principio. Whale. Por ejemplo, los británicos dicen que hay ballenas cerca de Gales. There are whales next to Wales. Hay ballenas en Gales. There are whales in Wales. Really? Are there really whales in Wales? Yes, there are whales in Wales. Me, Tejano, I said there are whales. There are whales in Wales. There are whales in Wales. All right. Well, we finished list 5. The next list is list number 8, excuse me. Now, we only have about 3 minutes, I think. And I'm going to start with Nigel Perkins. You remember, I'm not going to start, but I'm going to give you some background information. If you remember, Ronnie Perkins, Nigel's son, lives in Monte Carlo, in Monaco. And he owns 2 yachts. He owns a yacht that he rents. And that's his business. But he started a business with the Turkey family from Corsica. And now the Turkey family wants to take over the business. To take over es apoderarse de o asumir ya el control de. To take over. The Turkey family wants to take over the business by injecting fresh capital, new capital, and Ronnie doesn't have enough money to equal the capital, and so the Turkey family is going to have the majority of the shares, la mayoría de las acciones, the majority of the shares. Now, a banker in Monte Carlo is aware of this problem, and he knows a person in the yachting club who spoke to Nigel Perkins. So the father knows that his son has gotten himself into a mess, into some trouble, into a mess with the Turkey family. And Nigel has made a decision to get Ronnie out of the mess, but not to tell Ronnie. It's secretly to solve his son's problem. Nigel Perkins has a problem with his son. Ronnie is not like his father, Nigel. Nigel is very hardworking, very conservative, a brilliant private detective and a brilliant manager of private detectives. And he has a lot of money. He's a very successful businessman and a very successful private detective. But his only son, he and Margaret have had one son, Ronnie. And Ronnie is a bit of a problem. And Ronnie lives in Monaco, and Ronnie spends more money than he earns, and Ronnie has gotten himself into some complicated business with a family in Corsica that many people believe have connections with the mafia. And now Nigel sees that it's necessary. He sees, ve que es necesario. Nigel sees that it's necessary to extricate Ronnie from this problem, to get Ronnie out of the mess. Ronnie got himself into a mess. Se ha metido un buen lío. Ronnie has gotten himself into a serious mess. And the father secretly is going to try to get Ronnie out of the mess. And so he's sending a man. Nigel Perkins has just formed a new company called AMY Limited. The initials stand for Atlantic and Mediterranean Yachting. Yates del Atlántico del Mediterráneo. But we'll continue with this tomorrow. Long story. Take care.